We're in the office again. At this point, I don't think we should be surprised anymore. It was this or I didn't film today. Also, look at my nails. This one's still broken and sad, but I painted them yesterday. This paint takes so many coats to actually go on. For anyone who's into nail polish though, this is OPI's Purple with a Purpose. Look at all my rings. I'm all dressed up today because it's day one of celebrating my sister's birthday. My sister's birthday is actually tomorrow as I'm filming this, which by the way, happy birthday to my sister. But I am on, day one of us going out and celebrating. Today we went to lunch and we went to a game store and we went to the mall. And tomorrow we are going to go get coffee and go to a different game store, and we're going to go to a bookstore. And the day after, we're going to go see Lord of the Rings re-released in theaters. We're only going to see Fellowship of the Ring though. It's our favorite of the three because it has Boromir, and Boromir is our favorite member of the Fellowship. You guys don't want to know what would happen to me if they were re-releasing The Hobbit in theaters. By the way, this right here, it's really hard to see. Let me block out my face a little bit. That is the ring. Like the ring that I got to represent my Hobbit DR. If I can find, I took this really pretty like close-up photo of it that I posted on my Instagram. If I can find it, I will put it over here. Look how detailed that is. It is moss agate and I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's so pretty and I take so much comfort in it. But yeah. Let's get down to what the video is about. Hey, my name is Lilith. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. And today we are talking about how to get out of a shifting slump. This felt extremely relevant for me because I was just in a very hardcore shifting slump, and because I've had a lot of people ask me since I was talking about shifting slumps and like how it feels to be in one and trying to deal with being in one. I also had a lot of people asking me like, okay, now that I know I'm in one, how the fuck do I get out of one? So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about shifting slumps. We're going to talk about how to get out of them. I personally am going to be giving you 10 tips that I wrote down. And for me, I think there's different ways everybody can get out of a shifting slump. I think how you get out and how I get out are two very different things, but these are going to be like my personal tips of like what has worked for me and what I personally do. And honestly, and this is my number one, I think my number one thing is you need to give yourself time and a break, because 9 times out of 10, you're in a shifting slump for a reason. You've most likely hit some kind of burnout, or you're going through a lot of stuff mentally. You are extremely busy in your CR, something like that. But you've got a lot going on and there's a reason that you're in some sort of slump. And my number one thing really is, before you ever, and this counts as one of the tips, honestly, to get yourself out, you kind of have to let it happen to you for a bit. I like to think of it as like that thing from Finding Nemo where it's like you gotta go through it, not over it. Sometimes you can't jump around the slump and you kind of just have to exist in the slump for a minute, let it happen to you, take a break, take a breather, and step back from shifting for a minute. Tip number 2 about what to do to get out of a shifting slump is based all around nostalgia. And this is to watch stuff that you were watching that was shifting based content when you first found shifting. Now, a lot of the time when I'm doing readings for people when they're trying to get their spark back about shifting, or they're in some sort of slump, or they're looking for motivation or guidance, the number one thing that I seem to get is to recapture the excitement and the magic that you really had when you were first in your shifting journey. Now, a lot of, but not all of the people that I've spoken to, we all came in during like 2020 shift talk, circa Harry Potter type shit. And not all of those creators are still around. But if the creators that you were watching in 2020 are still around, honestly, bringing back that nostalgia might help. I like going back and looking at old videos from like 2020 Shift Talk, 2021 Shift Talk. I like going back and looking at old motivation videos made by Court Crux. I like going and watching old story time videos made by Cass, even though she's not in the community anymore. I will even go and look at my own content that's from like 2020 to 2021 that was all really based in like what I now consider to be nostalgic Shift Talk vibes. So going and watching stuff that was really prevalent for you, and content and creators that were prevalent for you during the beginning of your shifting journey and what you heavily associate with getting into shifting, I think can kind of trigger a little bit of the excitement that came with first finding shifting. Tip number 3 is to consume the media that you are shifting to as much as possible. Sometimes what you need to get out of a slump is to really get, oh my God, sorry, the edge of my bra is itching me. Sometimes all you need is to get back into the media of where you're shifting to. Binge watch that movie series. Watch your favorite episodes of that TV show, reread that book, watch edits of the people that you're shifting for, listen to music that makes you think of that thing. Like really saturate yourself in it and consume the media and like the fandom around the media as much as possible if you're shifting to a media source. If you're not, this one doesn't really apply to you, but I know a lot of people in the shifting community are shifting to a form of media. For me personally, my big thing is to watch the thing that I want to shift to, watch edits of the person I'm shifting for, watch edits of my friends, like stuff like that. I think really getting into the media and allowing yourself to have like a fangirl moment can really help to like bolster up a hyperfixation with it and get you like really heavily in the mood for it. Tip number 4, sometimes this one's a little bit harder for people, but I actually think it's kind of fun. This is to like live as your DR self for a day or even like for longer than a day. Consider this a form of acting or cosplaying. But if your DR self is someone who looks or acts differently than you, maybe that's how you need to behave. I used to see a lot of people, especially in like 2021 to 2022, who would get really in the mood for shifting by dressing as their DR self, who would dress differently than the person they are here. I like doing this a lot. It's kind of hard for me sometimes because I have different hair colors in all of my DRs. This is my hair color in my Salem DR, but my hair in my Salem DR is down to about here. So that's about as close as I can get. But my hair in my Stranger Things DR is down to the middle of my back and it's like bright blue. My hair in my Harry Potter DR is rainbow and it's to my jawline. My hair is to my jawline and dark green in my Marvel DR. I'm pretty sure it's black and to my jaw in my Peaky Blinders DR. I know in my Hobbit DR I have like long dark red hair. In my private DR with Carly I have long black hair. And I'm pretty sure that my hair is long and black, but I might have shaved sides in my Twilight DR. Like, it's always a little bit harder when you look different than your DR self, especially for those of you that might use a face claim. I personally do not. But sometimes I'll dress a certain way that might remind me of my DR self and feels more like my DR self. When I really want to get into the mood for my Twilight DR, if I'm not just doing like a full like saturation of like DR stuff and like wearing like my Twilight t-shirt, I'll dress like my DR self. Now what this usually means to me is dressing like kind of like Bella. I have a long sleeve plain black shirt that I'll wear and a flannel that I'll pull over it. I'll also spend a lot of time wearing beanies because in my DR I wear beanies a lot. I'll sometimes change my jewelry based on where I'm trying to shift as well. If I'm wearing makeup that day, I'll do my makeup in a way that will really complement more like who I am in such and such DR. If I'm in my Twilight DR, I'm usually wearing more like cool tone purples and grays and stuff like that. Whereas in my Marvel DR, I'm wearing a lot of like green tones to match my hair. And in my Salem DR, it's a lot of like deep purples and stuff like that. But it's, you know, so I'll do my makeup differently that day. Sometimes I'll wear a hat. Sometimes I'll wear different jewelry. I'll wear my clothes accordingly. And sometimes I'll even like take part in different activities that I'll be more heavily interested in different DRs. If it's a DR that I'm shifting to that's like a period thing, the only music that I'll listen to when I'm trying to like live as that DR self for a day is like music that fits that time period. You can also technically do this by listening to music that makes you think of the DR, but specifically I like to do it as like that version of myself. So listening to music that would like really hit in that DR specifically. I'll also do the same thing by like reading books that I know that I read in that DR. Sometimes I'll even change the color of my nails to match what they look like in that DR. If there are certain foods that you eat a lot in certain DRs because it's a food that you eat a lot with certain friends or a partner, you can eat that food that day. I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I'll go as far as like, because I do the neurodivergent thing where I talk to myself a lot. Sometimes when I'm talking to myself, if it's a DR where I speak differently because I have an accent, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll talk to myself in that accent and just kind of like let it sink in. Or when I'm reading my script out loud that night before I go to bed, I'll read it in that accent. If I'm reading a book during the day, I'll read the book out loud to myself in that accent. You also can download, I haven't in a while and I don't have it on my phone anymore, but something that I used to do when I would do this, there was an app that I used to have, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a fake social media app. It like makes it look like Instagram, but it's not real Instagram. And you can put in like how many followers your account supposedly has, and then like pick who's commenting on it. So I used to make ones where it was like my Instagram in my Marvel DR. And then I would post photos that were like of Tony and then have like Natasha comment on it. And I would have like Clint comment on it or whatever. And you can do that where it's like you can look at it and pretend that that's your social media without having to actually create any real social media accounts. It's just like a fake thing that only you can see on your app on your phone. Sometimes I'll even go as far as to change phone backgrounds. That way that I can really immerse. And I'm like, okay, well, what would my phone background be in this DR if you have a phone in that DR and it's not a period thing? Just really embodying that version of you. So if you can dress a certain way, use certain accessories, do certain makeup, talk a certain way, eat certain foods, read certain books, watch certain movies, just like really exist like that version of you. Because it's all you, it's all stuff that you're into, but it's like saying in certain DRs, I'm more likely to do certain things or watch certain things or listen to certain things more often than I am in others. Which kind of leads me into tip number 5, which is to write letters or journal entries as your DR self or to your DR people. Now, this can also be a part of a different video that I will eventually make about like connecting to your DR or connecting to your DR self. But I think this also is something that I've used personally as how to get out of a slump, because part of the reason I get into slumps is I don't feel connected to any DRs or any version of myself in a DR. So something that I'll do is try to connect myself to that DR. So sometimes I'll just sit and I'll write out an entire letter. You can do it by hand or you can do it on the computer or something. I will write out an entire letter like to whoever it is that I really miss and tell them how much I miss them and what I want to do with them and how I can't wait to hang out with them. Or I'll write a journal entry as myself in my DR and be like, okay, this is what I did today. This is what I need to do tomorrow. This is how I'm feeling about such and such that's happening in my DR. Sometimes connecting to your DR self or to your DR people is the best way to get out of a slump. Like I said, everybody's slump is different. And I've had slumps for different reasons. I've had slumps that were caused by me not feeling connected to my DRs or my DR selves, but I've also had slumps that were caused by me being too busy in this reality to even think about shifting. I've had slumps caused by mental illness and slumps that were caused by me being sick. I've had slumps that were caused by me having a lot of drama in my life at the time. I've had slumps caused by me being too busy with work. Like, slumps all happen for different reasons, but sometimes connecting to your DR self can really help. Number 6, and I don't want this to seem like a plug, this is genuinely something that I do. Either do your own or get a reading from somebody else. Get a tarot reading that has to do with shifting. If you do need someone to get that from, I do offer those. You can get one in the email below. It's in the description. I charge $15 a piece. It's my main source of income, and you can get one from your higher self for shifting advice. You can get one from your spirit guides. You can get one from somebody in your DR. You can get whatever it is that you need. We'll have a long consultation and I'll walk you through everything. But I don't always do my own. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do more readings for you guys than I do for me because I don't like getting mine from myself. I like how it feels to get it from somebody else. So I get all of mine from Carly. But I've also paid for tarot readings from people on Etsy before. And I've paid for them from small business owners on TikTok. And I've gotten them from other shifters that I know personally. I've had readings from multiple people. So this is not me going, you should get them specifically from me. I don't care who you get them from, baby. You can get any reading from any person that you want to. You can do your own reading. But I think sometimes getting those readings can really help, because I think different readings can bring different things. If you're getting advice readings, whether it's from your higher self or your spirit team, sometimes you can find out what it is that's causing the slump if you don't know what's causing it, or you can get help with figuring out how to get out of it, or if you need to try to get out of it or let yourself ride the wave, or if you're in it because you're not motivated. Sometimes motivation can come in the form of encouragement from spirit guides or from your higher self, or it can come from just like motivation and affection from DR people. So in no way is this me trying to plug my shit, but if you do want to use my shit, that's where it's at. But 100%, I always encourage people to do their own research, find a person that you personally are comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with me doing it, or you just don't like my prices or whatever, you never have to buy from me ever. I would never ever expect that. I always encourage people to get readings from someone that they feel comfortable with, that they trust, that they believe, that they feel okay communicating with, and that they feel is going to be open and honest with them. And if they can't find that person, to do it themselves, because you deserve to feel happy and safe and comfortable with whoever you're getting a reading from, whether it's me or you or somebody else. Tip number 7, and this might be my favorite, is to script a new DR. This is something that I do a lot that helps me out of slumps. Mine and Carly's private DR was actually the result of both of us being in a shifting slump. Sometimes those DRs are just there for the time being. Sometimes they stick around for a while. I love that DR, but it's not one of my more prominent ones. I don't really think about it that often, but at the time it pulled me out of a slump when I was in a really, really miserable headspace and I had just gotten out of the hospital. I was really disconnected from shifting and just generally pretty miserable. I'm talking so fast because of my ADHD, but I was really unhappy and it was like a really shitty time for me. And I thought that it would be honestly really fun to work on a new DR with a friend. This can really count as that thing as well. To make a parallel or group DR with a friend can also be something that you do, or you can just do one alone. I have other DRs that I've made that have gotten me out of a slump before. As soon as I finish Pushing Daisies, I will be working on a script with you guys for my Pushing Daisies DR, and the idea of that's pulling me out of my slump even further. My Hobbit DR, bringing that back, brought me out of a slump. My new Foundation DR, pulling me out of a slump. Like, sometimes creating new scripts for new DRs really helps to ignite that jolt again, because it's getting you excited about new places and new people and new experiences. Sometimes it's just fun to jump into it, especially if you're doing it with another person and you can bounce ideas off of each other and get really creative and fun. But even if you don't have somebody that you feel comfortable doing that with, or you don't have any shifter friends or whatever, even just doing it yourself and really getting those creative juices flowing can be really fun and really motivating. And that can really help rip you out of a slump, even if it's a really bad one. Tip number 8, watch shifting stories. This one is a big one for me. This is when I tend to go back into like creators who I used to watch and binge watch their old videos. Now, I know some of them either aren't around anymore, or they're not shifters anymore, or they took down their stories but left their regular content up. Now, I know that C Shift Post, previously C Shit Posts, still has shifting videos up, but I believe they removed all of their storytime videos. Court, I know, has videos dating all the way back to 2020, but I'm pretty sure that she removed a bunch of, if not all of, her old story times. I know Liz has moved accounts a couple of times, so I don't know if she has story times up or not. Mostly when I see her videos now, they're like answering questions and stuff. I know even though Cass is no longer in the shifting community, all of her shifting videos are still up. They're very hard to find. I think she left the community like 3 years ago or something like that. But she was very reminiscent of like the early few years of Shift Talk. And a lot of people took a lot of inspiration from her videos. So you can always go and watch those. Or if you're really into people like me who do story times that have to do with memories, realizations, or shifting scenarios, you can always find people who do those. Not necessarily just mine, even though I do have stories on, I don't even know what's going on with TikTok now. As I film this, it is currently the 21st of January. But I know tomorrow the TikTok official sale is supposed to go through, and I don't know what that means for the platform. I don't know what that means for US users. I don't even necessarily know if people from other countries can see our TikTok or if we can see your TikTok. I don't know what that means for the algorithm. I don't know what that means for app functionality. I don't know what that means for any of us. I'm assuming that by the time this video goes up, I'll still be using TikTok. If you are able to find and access my TikTok, you can check different playlists that I have on the account for different story times that I've given about memories and realizations and shifting scenarios that I've written in. Like I said, I don't know how Shift Talk is going to be by the time this video comes out, or how TikTok's going to be when this video comes out. But if you do want to find that, you can find those in the description. You can also find my other social media in the description while you're down there, along with a playlist of all of my other reality shifting videos. And you can find Carly's social media down there as well. She makes the best shifting subliminals ever, so I will always plug her shit and leave her in my description permanently. But honestly, watching people's story times of actual like full shifts, or even scenarios that they've come up with, or memories or whatever, is really motivating for me. It really makes me feel like, hey, yeah, this is real. We're talking about real shit that we've all experienced. And that makes me feel kind of like warm and fuzzy, and I really love that feeling. So that might be something that could help you. Second to last tip at number 9 is to discuss shifting with other shifters. Now, this can really be hard for people because even though we are a community, it's really hard to feel connected to other people, especially since we've all kind of like ripped off into different directions. I know there's a lot of really great shifters here on YouTube, but honestly, outside of like the people that follow me and the people that follow the Batshit Crazy podcast, which is also down in the description, I don't really know anything about shifters on YouTube. If you guys watch any other YouTubers who are shifters who make shifting content, please leave them in the comments. I would love to find new shifters to follow. I am always looking for that. But I know that everyone's kind of divvied off. I mean, when I was first in the community, we were really only on TikTok and Amino, and now Amino's completely gone, and we don't know what's about to happen to TikTok and what's happened by the time this video comes out. And you know, there's a bunch of people on Tumblr, and then there's people that are on YouTube, and there used to be people on TikTok who moved to Twitter, and then Twitter kind of like died out after Elon bought it. And then there was some people on Blue Sky, but there wasn't really that many people there. And then they said they were moving back to Twitter, and now I heard they're not even on Twitter anymore. I don't even know. But I feel like it's so easy, even when you are on a heavily populated platform, to feel isolated. This is a weirdly isolating journey where we all feel kind of like divided and alone. And I know that I was incredibly grateful when I started making friends with other shifters, and I feel very grateful for them every single day. And I feel grateful for you guys every single day, because even if I didn't have shifting friends, I know that you guys would be there to talk about shifting with me. And sometimes talking about shifting with other people honestly gives me more motivation and gets me out of a slump more than anything else. I love going on TikTok live with you guys. It's so fun. I love having you guys ask me your questions. It makes me feel really connected, and I love you guys, and I love hanging out with you guys. I really want to do a live on YouTube sometime. If you guys are ever interested in that, please let me know. You can tell me in the comments. I did post a like regular text post on here a while ago, but I know not everybody sees those. So if you guys are interested in me going live on YouTube, I can definitely do a research dive into it, because I've only ever gone live on TikTok before. But going on live, talking to people on social media, making shifting friends, even talking about it. I know that there's like different group chats, and I think there's like forums for it on Reddit. I know there's like at least one. I don't know how many there are, but I know that there's like subreddits for it, and there's Discord servers. I think that Liz might have a Discord server. Me and Carly have one. That's also in the description along with the podcast, but you have to be 18 or older to join it. It's an adults only server. But I know that there's a lot of people on TikTok that have talked about the fact that there's different like Discord servers and group chats and shit for people who want to talk about shifting in group settings. And sometimes, whether it's talking about it in a group or talking about it to an individual, honestly, that can help. It makes it feel more normalized and more real to you as a person. And I think that that can be really helpful. Sometimes talking to my friends about it is the best thing I can do. And tip number 10 is to consume as much shifting content as I can get my hands on. This is like if I have like a spare hour or two, or maybe even like a whole day, I will jump in to soak up as much shifting stuff as possible. Stuff about different DRs, stuff about motivation, shifting scenarios, shifting stories, stuff about different methods to try. I'll look at people's Tumblr posts. I'll check out stuff on Reddit. I'll look at people's TikToks. I'll look up like hashtag shift talk. I will go and watch videos from my really amazing mutuals. And I will sit and I will binge watch their videos. And sometimes just really surrounding myself with shifting content, not necessarily just like content that has to do with like where I'm shifting, but content that's about shifting, stories about it, humor videos, memes, motivation, DR ideas, scripting, methods, like different stuff that's about it, really ingrain it in me and surround me in it. Sometimes it like perks me up and gets me in the mood because everybody's talking about it and it's in all these videos. It's like saying if I sit here and I talk about ice cream enough, you're gonna want ice cream eventually. And sometimes running into enough videos that motivate me or enough videos that remind me of certain DRs can really do the trick. So sometimes going and looking for it, especially on different platforms, maybe spending an entire day or a couple of days consuming as much as possible, might make a difference. At least it does to me. Again, with all of these tips, I know that all of these were completely different, and I know that all of these might not be what you're up for or what works for you, but these are tips that come from me and what works for me and what I've done in the past, and it's all just opinions. Hopefully you guys found at least one thing in this video to be slightly helpful. Hopefully I can help someone out of their slump. I think I've already plugged everything in the description, but again, if you want to find anything, it's in the description. Hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this channel. What are you doing if you sat through the whole thing and then you didn't subscribe? Let me know in the comments what you guys do to get out of a shifting slump. That way that you guys can help each other out and we can all talk about it in the comments. I love you guys so much. Thank you for sitting through this video, and hopefully if you're in a shifting slump, we can help get each other out of it. I love you. Bye.